What's up, curious youngsters? For thousands of years, humans have been practicing all kinds of sports. And even though most of the time we see the same things, every now and then events happen in different matches or competitions that really deserve to be watched again. And even if you love sports and think you've seen it all, there are always unique things. And that's what Senor Curiosity is here for. For this and much more, here are 20 things, 1 in a million. In sports, each sport has its own rules that must be followed without question, especially in the top divisions. Because if we're not paying attention, it could happen to us. What happened to the baseball player Matt Carpenter during a major league game? As we can see, Carpenter had reached a base and had to stay there until the ball was back in play. But he didn't expect Tom Helton's trick, pretending to throw the ball to Rod Oswald while keeping it. And at that moment, when Carpenter moved to leave the base, Helton tagged him and got him out. Taking advantage of this somewhat controversial but legal move to get a tie for the Colorado Rockies. We know that sometimes sports games can end in a fight between the players, especially when there are attitudes that go beyond competition. And in a contact sport like ice hockey, unfortunately, this is quite common, especially because it's legal to fight. We're seeing a United States Professional League game that got out of control. And as we can see in the video, the player Aaron Downey from the Dallas Stars knocked out Jesse Bowlers from the Carolina Hurricanes. Why so aggressive, man? Why, if you thought golf was too calm, not very exciting, are you sure you haven't seen the golfer Jody Warshadoff in action? This athlete can make the most impossible and unusual shots, no matter the conditions of the course. And we find a good example of her talent in the following images, which show Jody about to make an extremely difficult shot. As we see in the video, she manages to direct the golf ball toward the hole in a single shot, in such an amazing way that it seems like a magic trick. Some athletes do whatever it takes to score during a game, and in the following video, we'll see a perfect example. Jerome Simpson of the Cincinnati Bengals saw a close opportunity for a touchdown during the game against the Arizona Cardinals. That's why, in a demonstration of his extraordinary control over his body, Simpson literally jumped over the defender in front of him. He flips in the air and lands on his feet for the touchdown. Not only did this give his team some points, but also, this spectacular play was considered the best of the year in the National Football League. We know that an American football game is a great show, and the audience follows it with excitement, even if it's an amateur match. But what about the next video? The whole stadium was focused on another situation that had little to do with the plays of that sport. Just a few minutes into a United States University League game, a cat was left hanging from a cloth in the upper stands of the Hard Rock Stadium, more than 15 meters above the ground. As we can see, the poor feline was struggling not to fall, but there was no way to rescue it from above. That's why the fans below came up with an idea. As we can see, they stretched out a flag as if it were an improvised safety net. This cushioned the animal's fall, letting them catch the kitten so it came out completely unharmed. Most sports require their players to wear protective gear, and by watching the next video, we'll understand why. In these images, we see another Major League Baseball game in the United States where everything was expected to go as usual until this incredible pitch happens. As we can see, he was so unlucky that the ball got stuck in the catcher's mask. This unusual situation, which let's say doesn't happen very often but has happened before, that's why the use of special protective helmets is so important. Watching a game on a screen is not the same as being there live. Although it has other advantages, like, for example, being able to watch a slow-motion replay of a play that wasn't very clear, and we find a good example of this in the following images from a basketball game. As we can see, the player James Harden seemed to miss that shot in a crucial game. But if we watch the replay, we notice that the ball went through the hoop, it just spun around and came back up to the top. The curious thing was how it bounced a couple of times, giving the impression of a missed shot, when in reality it never was. We know that during sporting events, some plays can be a little strange. A good example of this was recorded in the video we will see next, and it's necessary to watch it in slow motion to see in detail what really happened. In this pitch from a baseball game, the ball bounced off the exact spots and with just the right force to change its trajectory and end up inside the umpire's pocket. Even though it seems unbelievable, this isn't the first time it's happened. That's really strange, my friend. Many times, players get so focused on a play that they lose sight of everything else. That's the case of the baseball player Rodney McRae, who was playing a minor league game in 1991. As we can see in the video, McRae makes a catch that seemed practically impossible, although with a small detail. And it's that the momentum from running to make that epic catch ends up making him accidentally crash through an advertising fence. The good thing is that it was just a funny incident and no one got hurt. In a sport like basketball, every second counts, and even if a game is in its final moments, nothing is decided. We can see a great example of this in the following video featuring Jeremy Lamb from the American team Charlotte Hornets. Lamb's team was losing against the Raptors when he took a shot from half court, just a few seconds before the game ended. As we can see, not only did he make the shot, but this basket also gave his team a 1-point victory, winning 115 to 114. We know that in any sport, sometimes quite unusual situations can happen that are recorded for posterity. One of them is the one we'll see in the following video, and it happened during a baseball game in the United States. The game was going on normally until suddenly the field's sprinkler system turned on. As we can see, the sprinklers started working as if the field were empty, spraying everyone and making the players laugh. Scoring in basketball isn't easy, and that's why many times we need a bit of luck to make it happen. And in the following video, we'll see a good example of this. These images show us a professional player who was completely determined to score, but ended up missing. However, as we can see, the athlete didn't completely fail, because thanks to an incredible bounce, the ball goes up a couple of meters and finally goes into the hoop perfectly. If we talk about one of the best soccer players today, we're talking about Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. This Brazilian athlete, known worldwide as Neymar, has extraordinary talent for handling the ball with his feet. But, as we see in the video, he can also control something as small as a piece of gum. These images show us a fun moment before a match, where Neymar does tricks with his gum and even manages to get it back into his mouth. How disgusting, Mr. Neymar. Catching a baseball is a tough task, since it's hit at a speed of over 150 kilometers per hour. But the player Anthony Rizzo is on another level, as we'll see in the following video. In this amazing play, Rizzo carefully follows a strong hit, and to catch the ball, he jumps over the fence that separates him from the crowd, finally throwing himself into the stands and catching the ball among the spectators. Obviously, after such a show, he was cheered by the crowd, including a passionate fan in the audience who was wearing his jersey. Usually, just by watching the replay of a soccer play, we can understand why a penalty is called, but that's not always the case. And in the following video, we have a good example, since as we can see, these players from the United States University League fell at the same time in the box, without a very clear reason. Because as we look closely, we'll see their shoelaces tangled, causing their cleats to get stuck together. The most curious thing of all is that after a few minutes of confusion, this interesting sequence finally ended in a penalty. Has it ever happened to you while playing a sport that you threw the ball so hard it got stuck somewhere high? These things also happen in professional games, and we'll see an example in the next video. As we can see, this basketball game was interrupted because the ball got completely stuck and they couldn't get it back. But luckily, after several attempts, a boy among the spectators dared to climb to the top of the hoop, and with the help of another fan, fortunately, he managed to free it. In soccer, scoring a goal from one goal to the other is rare and not very common, but there is a chance of achieving it, as shown in the next video. What we're watching is a match from the 4th division of the English League, where a real feat took place. In this match, Tom King, the goalkeeper of Newport County, made a goal kick so perfect and so powerful that the ball bounced in the penalty area. As we can see, he scored a fantastic goal against Cheltenham, with the goalkeeper and defenders unable to stop it. Well done, Tom. We know that you should never celebrate anything before it's time, and in the next video we have the perfect example. As we can see, this senior student in Oregon, United States was running a marathon, and since he was winning comfortably, just before reaching the finish line, he got carried away by excitement and started celebrating his victory. But he didn't expect a competitor behind him to use his distraction. So in the final seconds near the finish line, that competitor passed him. One of the most demanding sports is vertical climbing, although professionals make it look quite easy. And we find a good example of this in the following video of Yulia Kaplina, who holds the women's world record in speed climbing. The footage is from the latest competition in this discipline, where she had to climb a 15-meter-high wall. The most incredible thing is that she did it in just 6.96 seconds. And in this way, she became the second woman in history to climb a wall with those characteristics in under 7 seconds. Rugby is one of the most popular sports in the world, and in its matches, we can not only see incredible plays, but also some gems, like the one we're about to see, featuring the player Elliot Daly. It seems that the athlete managed to throw the ball into a trash can on the side of the field, which was more than 50 meters away, while aiming for the lineout. Fortunately, one child in the crowd bravely retrieved it from the trash and returned it to the players.